Hey, I have a fun video today. I want to show you what I've been thrifting into a few estate sales, and I'm excited to show you what I picked up and what I'm going to use it for. A lot of it is for slow stitch, which I've recently gotten into. If you're not familiar with it, it's basically just a different, more imperfect version of hand sewing. So intentionally frayed edges, intentionally like uneven stitching, very artistic, very like junk journaling for fabric is how I think of it. But yes, this is my latest obsession, so I have to feed this obsession through thrifting and finding the secondhand materials, because I love using vintage materials when I can, because they're just so much more unique, and that makes the project that much more interesting, I feel like. So that's what I've been doing. So I'm going to wash everything and then I'll show you what I found. This was such a scenic route. I wanted to share a little bit of my drive back home. I get really inspired when everything comes back to life in the spring, and I especially love these sort of like tree-like tunnels. Just being completely surrounded by greenery is so inspiring to me. Some of the pieces I've already started cutting out and putting in little bundles. These are my slow stitch bundles. If you can see like the subtle pattern on that, that's this word. I don't know how to say it. But a lot of this I haven't shown you yet, so I thought I would show you what I've thrifted recently and how I'm pairing it with things like these that I already have on hand to create slow stitch bundles. And I want to show you the types of things I thrift for slow stitch bundles, because you have to think a little outside of the box, at least the type of bundles that I'm building, because I like them to be as all secondhand materials and as many true vintage as possible, because in my opinion you just cannot beat the uniqueness and the quality and the texture. It's just incredible, especially when you find handmade or hand knit pieces or made in the USA fabrics. I never get tired of finding that stuff and finding a way to give it a second life. So I like to shop in sort of color stories, and this is a top I picked up for the texture and the color. It's like this soft purple color, and I knew I had another top that was sheer that would go perfectly with it. So these are going to pair together in a pastel textured slow stitch project. Okay, this was a really good pickup because it's so big, and I had been needing more neutral colors. I have a ton of lace and I have a ton of prints, but I thought this was really cool because it's done in this sort of square patterns where it's like a square of lace, a square of solid, a square of lace, and I really like the lace. It's different than any I'd seen recently, and I'm going to be able to use both the solid and the lace. So I've been hand stamping on solid fabric and using it as base material for my fabric collages. So I was so happy to pick this up because this is a ton of fabric and I love the detail here on it. Look at that. It's just different. I was really drawn to it and I like how it feels too. I definitely shop based off of texture. So if it feels good and it looks good and I'm drawn to it and the price is right, I pick it up. This one checked all the boxes. Okay, this is what I mean about thinking outside the box a little bit. This was actually in the women's skirt department. It's a velvet floral paisley, and it just feels really good. It's vintage. I immediately thought of it for these mushrooms, this sort of mushroom collage that I'm working on. It's a pattern, but I'm making a mock-up for it. And long story short, this is cotton, which makes it even better. It just feels really good compared to polyester velvet, which I still pick up, but I really like that this was cotton. And here I'll show you what I mean. Like, it's a size 12 or 10, but That's a decent amount of fabric for what I need it for. Here's another one I found in the women's department. I think it's like a 2XL, so a pretty big size, which is great because it means more fabric. And I immediately saw these florals and I wanted to do a denim. I wanted to use it to go with my other denim florals and put together a denim floral collection. And it went with everything I already had. So again, I'm shopping by theme, color story, texture. This hit all the marks, so I was so happy to have this one. And if you can see, 100% cotton. I like that this was a subtle paisley, and I like the brown color. I feel like this, yes, it's a print, but I can use it as a neutral. And I can use it even as a solid pretty much in some of my collage work. It would be a good background fabric. And then this one I want to pair with the floral denim collection. I think all those blues are going to bring out a lot of the different blues of the denim, so that will work really well. And I believe this was a pillowcase. Oh, this was one of my favorites. I was so happy to find this because I've been looking for one of these for a really long time. It's a vintage vintage chenille. I struggle with that word, with fringe edges. And it has just this amazingly rich texture that's naturally worn in. It's in this neutral, warm cream color. This I can use for so many projects. And piggybacking on that sort of knobby kind of texture, this is a lavender scarf that I'm just cutting into to use for fabric. And again, look how perfectly it pairs with this pastel stripe that I already had. Okay, another theme of items I've been picking up recently, hand embroidered pieces, because so much went into the creation of these and they just are underappreciated. And if they have stains, it's all the more reason to pick it up for me, because I can definitely use that in a junk journal or a slow stitch where imperfection is embraced. See the stain right there? But at the same time, it doesn't detract from the overall beauty of the piece, because I will further stain it with coffee or tea or even add watercolor on top of it. And I love how these cottons and linens are just naturally already worn in, and they have this really nice texture, like this natural texture, if you can see that. So this was a win. I got several embroidered pieces. I'm just showing a few here. Here's another one that it's stained, but this doesn't affect me being able to use it in the project. I picked it up for this amazing crochet detail. Again, working with that pastel theme I have going. And then you can hardly see it in the light here, but this is very yellowed, naturally yellowed, but it also feels really good. It's naturally worn in. It's just it's been softened with time. And that will go good with like hand stamping and so many other projects as just a base neutral. And I like that it's discolored because it already adds more character to the project. I don't have to coffee or tea dye it. It already has the natural discoloration. Okay, this next one was fun because it's actually a set, and I don't like it as a set like to wear, but the jacket I may consider using as a pajama jacket, but the skirt I'm definitely going to cut into. And if you can see up close here, it has amazing colors. I love that extra detail, that sort of like background detail just adds a lot to it. And then this pillowcase, I was really drawn to the faded floral design, and it has this nice thick lace trim, which, let me show you a little bit closer up, but it's almost like little cameos within the lace, like little cameos with flowers. So pretty. And then these florals could go with the denim collection, the denim floral collection, or I may just do like a cottage floral sort of collection with these. Okay, I really like the texture on this. It's sort of like this, I almost call it like a flat crochet or a netted texture, but it's kind of chunky. I don't know. It feels good. And that's kind of a theme. You'll hear me say that a lot. It felt good. I shop based on feeling, style, and price for the most part. So I want to cut these apart and also cut the background pieces out. So I'll cut out the floral, like around here, and then the netted part I'll cut into squares and use both of these in collaging and making fabric collages and slow stitch bundles. Okay, this is a little off the fabric path, but I ran across so many of these Anna Griffin 12 by 12 cardstock papers, and I thought these are definitely these could be used in so many things. I currently used one to make a sketchbook, a gift for somebody, a sketchbook, and then used another one to make the card. Her prints are just very antique and they feel very much like antique wallpaper, and I'm really drawn to them. So anytime I see Anna Griffin and it's in good condition and there's quite a few of them, I will almost always pick those up. Now there were way too many for me alone to work with, so of course these will go up on my Etsy, but I'm just showing you a few. This one was a hand embroidered, very unique piece with this military couple. I don't know if I was drawn to it because my husband's a veteran, but I couldn't ignore all the detail that went into it. And I went ahead and ironed it just so you could see it in a little bit better detail. This is one where I probably should have left it because I don't know what I will actually use this for. Maybe it could be a journal cover? I don't know. Do you have any ideas for what I could use this for? Okay, this was a chunky knit short sleeve top. I believe it's vintage, but I wasn't 100% sure. I am going to cut into this and use it for the fabric, and this will be used in slow stitch and collage work. So that's the brand. I have not heard of it, but I love the colors and I love the texture. I only had one of them clean, but I picked up several doilies, and of course this one was already naturally torn there, so I figure I can just cut it in half. I don't even have to feel guilty about cutting into it because it was already damaged, so the perfect candidate for reworking it into a new design. Then I picked up this ribbon because I like the subtle pleating, kind of the subtle sort of pleated detail, but I don't like wire on my ribbon, so what I'll do is I will cut both of the edges and then I will see if I can fray it, and I like that better. I feel like it makes it more the style I would be going after, and once the wires are gone, I like that so much better. I was drawn to this. I really like the texture of this yarn. It's called Textures. Not really familiar with yarn brands and that sort of thing, but it was made in Turkey, which is interesting. And I like the colors a lot too. This one felt really interesting. It's got sort of this flat, but this kind of silky feeling, and it's tencel. I think I could use that in binding journals, and there's so much of it there. I figure it's a nice neutral color. Can't really go wrong with that, but I do need to be careful in picking up too many threads and yarns. This one I picked up because I can use this to embroider because it is a pretty skinny thread there. So I figured I would give that a try. This one I can use in my slow stitch work, but I have to do couching to get the yarn to stay where I want, whereas this one I can use it just like I would thread. And I like the look of like really chunky stitches, so I was excited about that, and I really like the blue color. And of course I can't complain about the price. This was literally 30 cents. I think the yarn was around 30 cents to 60 cents per little bundle. So that's a wrap for my haul. Let me know what you think. Would you like to see more hauls from me? I could probably do a monthly one, but anyway, Thanks for hanging out. Peace. I'll see you next time.